My name is Stewart Jackson. I'm from Ontario originally, took my early schooling there, finished my PhD at the University of Alberta in 1969. I'm a zinc specialist, but I've also worked on a great number of other types of deposits. And the first big success was the involvement in the Red Dog zinc deposit in Alaska, which produces over 10% of the world's zinc to date. I was instrumental in getting the land position on that in 1975. I subsequently worked for other companies and put on several gold mines into production in Nevada, and went independent in 1981, formed my own company, Crown Resources, and put 10 mines into production in Washington State, the last of them currently being produced by Kinross. These mines in Washington State lead directly into the current target area in the Greenwood area in a similar geological belt. I have been in the business since 1959, so I have a good number of years under my belt at this point in time, and I know that we can find mines in prospective areas like this. We look at them with new eyes and new tools and in a new economic environment, and this allows us to go into old mining districts and produce new mines. I've made basically a career out of putting new mines into production in old districts where people have walked right over them for the last 50 to 100 years. The Hi-Ho Silver Group is very enthused about being able to revitalize the old productive Greenwood mining district in south central British Columbia. This district was first discovered in 1888, came into production in 1890, and produced a tremendous amount of wealth for the province up until the mid-1920s when the price of copper declined. Subsequent to that, the district sat dormant until the mid-60s, when again the price of copper came back up, and Granby Mining Company took the old district and open-pitted the previous Phoenix mine and produced from the 1960s up through the 1970s. Major production occurred in this pit. Some 30 million tons of material were produced, containing about 1 million ounces of gold and 4 million ounces of silver and about 1% copper. Tremendous amount of wealth again produced from this single pit. Other producers in the area produced intermittently from the 1890s right up through till recent years. Some of them were high-grade gold, some of them high-grade gold, copper, silver, and somewhere in the district there was also industrial cement production. Hi-Ho acquired this property on a joint venture basis from the joint venture partner Golden Dawn Minerals. Golden Dawn acquired the properties from two landowners who consolidated the land position over the last 20 years as exploration sat fairly dormant. The geophysical surveys that intrigued Hi-Ho and Golden Dawn were run about 3 years ago by junior mining companies which ran out of money and dropped the properties without ever drilling them. These geophysical anomalies were particularly intriguing to me because I had drilled similar anomalies in the Republic District to the south starting in 1981 and drilled out 10 different mines there, some of them very similar in geophysical response to what we're targeting here in Greenwood. The total production from those deposits is in the order of 4.5 million ounces, and the last of them is currently being produced by Kinross Mines, who netted 200 million in their first year of production last year, and they're continuing production to date, processing it through a mill that was constructed for the other deposits earlier in the 1980s and early 90s. Our target here is particularly attractive because there's a very broad, large geochem anomaly for gold, as well as other metals. Copper and zinc and lead are also widespread, but gold is the most dominant one, and we have an area covering 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers where the gold samples are very numerous, running in excess of 0.2 grams per ton. 0.2 grams per ton is the cutoff grade for Kinross's open pit mines on a worldwide basis, and other open pit mines have a similar cutoff grade on a worldwide basis. So here we have geochemical anomalies that approximate producible grade material in the soils. Our objective at this point in time is to conduct drilling programs to determine the in-depth content. The in-depth content was measured indirectly by the airborne geophysics first, and more recently by a Titan 24 ground survey, which has returned 30 attractive anomalies in just 6 lines on the northern portion of the property. The drilling program is currently in progress. We expect to have drill core within the next week, and in December of 2011 we should have results back from the lab when we assay these cores. The program will continue on through the winter. The access is very good. The property lies right astride the Trans-Canada Highway, so it's available for access year-round. There are good bush roads up the hill, and most of the hill has been deforested, so the bush roads are readily available. We could drive a truck-mounted drill rig right up on the property at any time and continue the drill program. The different types of deposits in this area are all represented on this particular property. We have some indications of high-grade epithermal quartz veins. We have skarn materials that contain copper. There were skarn materials in the old Phoenix open pit. We also have indications of massive sulfides, and these have both the geophysical response, the geochemical response, and the in-depth Titan 24 response of a massive sulfide. The massive sulfides were the initial target in the Phoenix pit and also in the Mother Lode district to the north, and a variation on massive sulfides were drilled off in the 1980s by myself on the Key East and Key West deposits in Washington State. So we have a variety of targets. The interpretation at this point is wide open. We keep an open mind until we actually get drill cores on these, and as we develop the detail in the third dimension, then we'll characterize these deposits, but at the present time the interpretations are wide open. The attractiveness of a large mine in this area is that it could be an open pit, and this would allow economies of scale and economies of grade, and we could mine something comparable to the Phoenix, which was 30 million tons. However, our target objective in this area, our exploration target objective, is somewhere between 100 and 500 million tons of material having a grade of 0.1 to 0.3, possibly as high as 0.5 grams per ton gold, and from 0.1 to 0.8, perhaps as high as 1% copper. So we're looking for a component with of both copper and gold in the economic contributors to success here. We also have the advantage of 1,000 ton a day capacity on the 2,000 ton a day mill located 15 miles to the south, operated by Kinross. They're seeking feed for the mill. They have 1,000 tons of capacity that could be utilized. If we're able to intersect higher grade material, copper gold material, close to surface here, we would look to doing an early 10,000 ton bulk sample, and we would look to doing underground in perhaps small open pit early scale production while we drill off the much larger scale target. Hi-Ho Silver has a number of mineral properties. These include 5 molybdenum properties with historic reserves. However, we are going to concentrate today on the Royal Attwood property in the Greenwood district of southern British Columbia. This is a large property holding, basically unexplored, and we're currently concentrating our activity on the north end of that block, where we have a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer gold in soils geochem anomaly in conjunction with favorable geology and very good geophysical targets underneath that. However, the property is much larger, and we're concentrating just on the north portion. The property is about double that in size, and we will subsequently do work on the entire property block.